Welcome back to the LCS. Freak here, reigning Kayle champion of the Battle Arena as seen on LCS Cooldown. I want to talk to you about the newest rework champion to the league. This one. She's enabled this week and ready to go on stage, and I want to talk about what you might see from her in Pro. First things first, she is a horrible, miserable, abysmal laner. You need time to scale up via her passive so she can ascend to her true form. And unlike most character passives that scale simply on champion level, this one scales on skill points spent. So Kleptomancy helps her reach these points sooner via getting Elixir of Skill. Pros seem to be playing Resolve Tree secondary to get all into a little bit less, just defensive tools to stay alive. Now, right now, there's also not a super clear item path for her. You can go attack damage or ability power. Either way, you want some attack speed in the build. She is an auto attacker. AP builds tend to be much more common in Pro, and they come online a bit earlier when she's still melee and can really only cast spells to help. AP gives you some CDR, gives you better healing, so you can be supportive in those mid-game team fights. But if you can weather the early game, attack damage builds are higher late game damage output. Hurricane IE crits are insane if you can get there. Now let's talk about Kayle's passive and what it does for her. In the very early game, it's simply some scaling, stacking attack speed. That's kind of nice. From 6 points onward, when you fully stack, you get the E to be AoE. She sends out some waves on the auto attacks. That's some nice wave clear. From 11 points onward, that's when she turns the line to a real champion. 550 range, and at 16 points, permanent attack speed buffs. That's even higher. Insane damage output with true damage on the waves. That's where she really comes online, and you see here talked about as a hyper carry from 16 points spent and onwards. But let's talk about her in an actual game setting, because she is still a squishy backline marksman without self-peel. We saw her in Academy MSI this week, where Echo Fox's Lorlo played her against an Akali. This is a 2v1 with an Olaf here, but via the invisibility, dodging out from the invuln, doesn't take any damage from that one, able to chase back down very easily, completely gets assassinated, despite being level 14 in that fight, can still be assassinated. So that's one thing to watch out for, a little bit less self-reliant there. The other big thing is her ult is a ticking time bomb. It deals tons of damage. So in late game teamfights, you can just ult the frontline Rakan diving in, and he will contribute several hundred damage via delivering your ult to the enemy team. That's a really, really big deal that makes you a bit useful in those mid and late game teamfights, plus the obviously powerful auto attacking to clean up afterwards. Now, we haven't seen Kayle yet across the LCS, but in the LPL, LCS Academy, and the TCL, we have seen her get some play. Plus, in patch 9.6, she is even stronger, so we may see her in the LCS playoffs. Now, though, it's time for Cloud9 vs Clutch Gaming. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Freak. Hello and welcome back to the LCS for game number 3, where Cloud9 will face off against Clutch Gaming. My name is Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and I am joined by the only man I trust more than that illustrious foldy sheet. It's Isaac Azale Cummings Bentley.
That would be a mistake.
No,
I'm not going to remember all those things, Flowers.
I trust every single bit of it to be right up here. This is our vault of knowledge, and now we are going to jump right into the starting rosters for this match, which might prove to be a doozy. Selecting the blue side, it's Cloud9, rocking the Academy roster with Kumo in the top lane, Blaber in the jungle, Goldenglue at mid, Keith and Diamond bot lane and support with coaches Reapert and Westrice.
And facing them on the red side today, it's Clutch Gaming. In the top lane, Huni. In the jungle, Lira. Mid lane, Piglet. Bot and support going to be Cody Sun and Vulcan with coaches McScrag and Artemis.
Now, heading into this match, we discussed behind the scenes whether we'd see any roster shakeups in this one because there are no playoff implications. Cloud9 already locked into second place. Clutch already eliminated from playoffs. And boy, did we get those shakeups.
Yeah, Cloud9 Academy coming in. Goldenglue gets to go for some revenge here against Midlet. Going to be very, very exciting. But you also have to say, Cloud9 are going to be able to be running a 7-man roster going into playoffs. And I would not be surprised to see Goldenglue or Blaber joining the main LCS roster when we get into those best of series, where it makes more sense to have subs, game in, game out. Being able to have more flexibility in the draft and in in-game execution can be very valuable.
And remember, last year, Cloud9 was that team that sort of utilized Academy like that when no one else was doing it to the same degree of success that they were. So if I had to pick a team in the LCS to say, hey, we've already locked our spot, let's give the Academy guys some stage time, let's see what they're made of up here on the LCS stage, it would definitely be Cloud9. And now that we're into Champion Select, it's Ryze and Cassiopeia and Irelia that they'll ban away, while Clutch Gaming takes Sylas and Thresh off the table.
Yeah, going to be very interested to see exactly what sort of draft Clutch here go for in particular. Piglet certainly did have a number of LCS games played as mid lane and back with Team Liquid, and has had kind of varied success in that role, but always has been a very aggressive player, and that's kind of where he's at his best. So champions that he has been successful on in the bot lane also can work very well for a mid lane, and we're seeing those accordingly banned out, right? The Cassio has kind of been the best champion for Huni. Aurelia has been, I would say, the best champion for Piglet so far this split, and his Rise is another champion that he's very, very comfortable on, and is also a flex.
Yeah, when we saw Clutch Gaming popping off earlier with their main roster in the regular season, it was always this triple threat with AD carry not being a traditional marksman, and then the two solo laners both being able to carry their own weight as well. So I like Cloud9's bans here targeting at that as they lock themselves in the Lissandra. Very safe pick first and foremost here, seeing a lot of popularity on this one recently. You can see pick and ban rate, it combined about 64% there. As across the table, it's Clutch Gaming locking themselves in the Lucian and the Karthus to kick things off.
Yeah, and Karthus could be jungle or mid, potentially even getting flexed somewhere else. This is Clutch. You know that it is a pretty crazy team, and they have been able to move champions around the map pretty successfully. Huni even bringing out Vayne top yesterday, so Lucian you can't even say is for sure a bot lane pick. We'll have to really wait and see where they want to play it. They definitely have 3 players who could be running the Lucian this game too.
Yeah, and considering this is a game that will not have playoff implications for either one of the teams, you can experiment. You can afford to say, all right, if there's a game where we can play Lucian top, this is the game you can play Lucian top. So Cloud9 now going to lock themselves in 2 champions that I'm pretty sure I know where they're going in terms of their role allocation with the Jinx and the Braum. Not really going to see either one of those outside of their traditional bottom lane roles.
Yeah, and I think that for Cloud9, this is the Academy roster getting a chance to play on the big stage, right? They are not going to be taking this game lightly by any means. This is an opportunity for these guys to prove themselves on the main stage, to try to fight for additional playtime on that main stage, and even to show these other LCS teams that may be looking for more LCS players come summer, yeah, maybe you should look to Cloud9 Academy.
I mean, that's the goal of Academy, right? Ever since the transition was made from Challenger Series to Academy, it's not about build a team, beat the teams that are relegated to the promotion tournament, and do your own job with that. It's all about being noticed as a player, and you can see there these guys trying to get noticed as players in the audience.
Who let those
out of work,
in here?
hungry, looking for some sort of a job to take up now that they're watching from the crowd, but we'll see how things work out for their replacements here today.
Times are tough. Times are tough for Licorice and Niski,
Yep, we all get down on our luck sometimes, but
don't worry, guys. I'll hold you a spot on my flex team.
He likes to split push. Make sure you're ready. Also, if you're ganking for him, you better be ganking for him. But anyway, going into the second part of the bans here, it's going to be Vladimir and Rumble. Some more of those AP solo laners targeted here on the side of Cloud9. Clutch Gaming looking towards the jungle and back again towards those solo lanes too with the Nocturne and the Aatrox.
Yeah, shutting down the Nocturne, that paired up alongside Lissandra can be some pretty deadly engage there. We are expecting Lissandra to go mid lane very likely, but there is the chance that it could be flex top still. Very likely we are looking at Lissandra versus this Karthus in the mid lane. I do like the Rek'Sai pick a lot into Lee Sin. It's a pretty advantageous matchup, I feel. If the Lee Sin actually hits a Q on you, you can actually just right-click on the Lee Sin, and if he takes that Q, the Unburrow will actually cancel the X-Q damage coming through with that Q2. So pretty powerful little interaction there. And we're getting Gangplank line pick top, and Huni is not someone to usually let that go unanswered. I think
the opportunity to
carry here.
This is what I really hope we get to see. Gangplank, something we haven't seen a lot of in recent memory.
Lucian top.
And it is Lucian top. Yeah, as soon as the Xayah is locked in, it's the lovers duo going into the bottom lane. And Huni is going to be up there on the Lucian top pick against Kumo's GP.
Yep, and you certainly got to give Huni the early advantage here. We'll see, though. I mean, maybe Piglet gets the Lucian mid. I think it would make more sense for Lucian to go up to the top lane against that GP, though, having the range advantage, especially in those early levels. And until you get a lot of points in your barrels on the GP, it actually ticks through pretty slowly. It can be very difficult to actually get any barrel chains off on a Lucian, who, especially with that passive, can double tap and knock those barrels down very, very easily. So certainly this is a very rough matchup, but it's about kind of weathering the storm here for Kumo and trying to actually get through that early game to a point where once you hit your Triforce, you can be clearing those waves very easily. You are going to outscale. You are going to have more use across that map with the Global Ultimate.
And you've also got Blaber on this Rek'Sai. You talked about how you like to pick into the Lee Sin, and I like to pick for Blaber in general. Remember last year when we were talking about that 7-man roster on Cloud9 and what the two use cases for the junglers usually were. Svenskeren was the more slow, control-oriented style jungler. Blaber was the guy that you brought in to pop off and carry, and Rek'Sai is the kind of champion you want to see your guy popping off on early.
Yeah, definitely the case. Gonna be pretty exciting to see if he'll be able to do it. And his Conqueror Lee Sin, pretty cool to see that.
Okay.
Not gonna be Electrocute, so this is something where, you know, if you can actually get that fully stacked up, it is gonna be stronger in kind of those longer engages, but certainly less upfront damage compared to the Electrocute, which is what Blaber's gonna be running.
Right, Electrocute, you get in, you land your hits, you instantly get the bonus damage. Conqueror does take a while to turn on now. Remember, you can't just prime it against minions like was previously possible. You have to get some champion damage. Lee Sin, of course, can start that going by landing the Q, waiting a second, and taking it afterwards. So that's one thing we'll be keeping an eye on for use of that Keystone. But we're out onto Summoner's Rift here for the third game of the day. Normally we'd be past the halfway point, but considering there will be one tiebreaker at the end of the day, we're only about halfway through. And now we got a sideline report. Riv caught up with Westrice.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Westrice coming into today. Cloud9 decided to play the Academy roster. What can we expect to see from this squad and their kind of performance?
Okay, so we feel like the 5-man Academy team is a pretty strong team, and since we're locked into second place for playoffs for the LCS team, we figured it'd be a good idea to give these players some experience on stage. And you know, some of these players is the first time on the LCS stage, so it means a lot to them. So it's pretty important for us.
All right, well, best of luck today. Back to you guys.
All right, as that interview concludes, we're seeing some early action here at level 1 as Flash is going to be forced out of the Cloud9 support right there before minions even spawn.
Pretty spicy start. Diamond gonna be down a Flash. We'll see if Clutch can take advantage of that whatsoever. Braum certainly can be a tough nut to crack, but you know, now he will be down that Summoner, and when you have someone who does have that really strong engage potential, like a Rakan, you know, you could see Lee Sin making an early visit down to the bottom lane and trying to punish that.
I like Vulcan on Rakan too. Yesterday he had some pretty solid plays in the game that they played, even though they weren't able to pull out the win. His save onto Huni's top lane Vayne in the river to keep him alive in what should not have been a situation where he lived as long as he did was pretty solid, as well as bottom lane being able to thwart away a couple of dives. The man knows his Rakan.
Yeah, I think Vulcan has been so impressive as a rookie, especially mechanically when you're looking not even only just at the game yesterday, but you look at a lot of his Alistar performances. He has had so many really clean Alistar games, hitting some very beautiful, like long range. He pops his W, then he hits the Q flash on multiple members, and he's been really, really good this year in general, I think. One of the standout rookies for sure. Lira will farm up that Scuttle Crab there in the bottom side, making sure he maintains control over this nice and early. As you can see, Blaber going for a full clear of the bottom side of his own jungle. The ping coming out from Clutch Gaming as Lira says, okay, I'm looking towards that top side of the jungle there for Cloud9. He just stopped by real quick, wants to grab a couple minions of EXP to get himself that level 3 as Blaber decides he's going to invest some time here into the bottom lane. Vulcan nice.
able to find the knock up there onto Blaber, has to flash himself away. See if Cloud9 wants to go after this one. Yes, sir, they do. Finding multiple stacks there on the stuns and first blood over to Key.
Really good initial peel there from Vulcan. It looked like that might have been enough to keep him safe, but they're not level 3, so he does not have the battle dance to actually jump back to the Xayah, and as such, Cloud9, despite being down a summoner at the start, they're the ones who come away with that kill. Very well done. And first blood on that Jinx is going to feel so, so good. So here is that initial play right as the C9 bot lane does hit level 2. So that was a great little bit of peeling, but Diamond actually tagging the Q allows Blaber to flash in. They know they can proc the Braum stun into Chompers here from Keith. So really well comboed CC chain from the C9 bot side. Will mean that Blaber loses a lot of his topside jungle here and will get the eventual triple buff for Lira. Likely also going to lose both Scuttles, but still, that is well worth it for that Jinx getting the first blood.
For a hyper carry like the Jinx, you always want to see those kills going his way. Important to note that as that play was happening bottom lane, when Lira passed through mid, he stayed for 2 minions to make sure he got level 3 for that jungle invade to clear things out more quickly. Made it so he could capture the entirety of the enemy jungle and then go up there, also be a little bit of a pain in the butt for Kumo as well, as he now goes back into the river, farms up that Scuttle, and when you look at the state of the jungle right now, you still have the entire top half of Clutch Gaming's jungle spawned and ready to go for Lira to farm.
Yep, triple buff. You're going to be able to clear almost 3 full quadrants. Blaber will get the wolves back. You got both Scuttles also. So really now it's about, can Lira actually make good on the advantage that he has? Because certainly C9's bot lane has been set up for success. Keith has grabbed that first blood. But individually, Lira is going to be ahead in experience, ahead in gold, and he will have his flash available. So it's up to him to now make some of that ground back and try to get some of these other lanes going. As we can see, Huni already has a significant CS advantage up here on the top side. As expected, is winning early, and that's someone you'd love to try to snowball and really put massively ahead of Kumo on this GP.
Huni continuing to push out this top side here on that Lucian. Yeah, that CS lead is nothing to scoff at. It's not going to be fun for a while here on Kumo. As you already mentioned in Champion Select, name of the game is hit Trinity Force. Get to the point where you can throw the barrels down, blast the caster minions, and feel a little bit better about where you're standing, because until then, you are just going to be farming up at the mercy of this Lucian.
And that being said, it's okay to fall down some farm, in this matchup, because you can catch up later and you get all the free gold from the parlay passive. You're also going to be able to use your cross-map ultimates to actually try to assist your team elsewhere, whereas Lucian has to slam you to be useful here, right?
Yeah.
So certainly Huni is off to a good start and does hold on to his TP, so he's going to be able to try to trade aggressively, force Kumo back to base, and then have that TP advantage.
And one thing I want to talk about too, specifically looking at this matchup, as Blaber might be coming around for a play here in mid lane, is I like the fact that when you're looking at these two champions up top, you're seeing Kumo going with the grasp on the Gangplank, because a conversation that often happens in top lane, especially with so many ranged top laners these days, is kleptomancy. Gangplank's a champion that uses that sometimes, but against a matchup like Lucian, that's not going to pay off. Grasp is obviously the right choice here, and I can't remember if it was you or whoever I was talking to yesterday talking about the differences in kleptomancy's win rate and why it's so high on champions it's good on, because the players who play it know when to play it and when to not.
Exactly. You're playing it in matchups where you oftentimes already have an advantage, or it's an easily farmed out lane, whereas Grasp here is going to be much more effective in this difficult matchup. But here comes Lira from behind.
Bottom side, it's Keith who's going to be jumped on to start this fight off. Vulcan's able to initiate things, but he's taken down instantly. Now Cloud9 might be able to turn this into a 2v3. They got the damage coming down. Heals popping off. There comes more damage down now onto Lira. Going to be able to take him out too. A double kill over to Keith. It's 3 bodies on the floor, and Cloud9 racked them all up.
Keith and Diamond absolutely popping off. Diamond even flashing in between Lira and Keith there to block the Q from Lira, stopping any chance of that kill. And Lira was spotted so early on the ward, but you'll see in this replay, so watch, Lira is spotted very early on here. They see the ward now, so C9 just says, all right, we'll just go forward. It takes Lira so long to actually arrive to the fight. Vulcan is already down. Then again, kiting away from the Lee Sin towards Cody Sun. He goes down as well. Then check out the flash from Diamond, flashing back in between them. No chance that Lira can land that Q. Blaber's hyped.
He's like, I didn't even have to do anything. Look at my team popping off. These guys are doing exactly what you want to see them do. That is one way to make a statement here, showing up, playing in Week 9 as the Academy squad.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see what Clutch Gaming was going for. You can see Vulcan wanted to start things off saying, all right, we'll just make them think we're going for a bad fight. Then Lira swoops in, but man, they underestimated Cloud9.
Yeah, they really did. Not respecting the power of that Jinx, early on. Is still very strong when you get the lethal tempo going. He had first blood, so he had a better buy. The damage alongside that Braum passive and Braum stun really is nothing to scoff at, so there's not the coordination that Clutch really wanted.
Ooh, speaking of coordination, here in the mid lane, it's damage coming through, and give another one over to Keith. 4 kills on the Jinx just 8 minutes into this game. Clutch Gaming will at least get one back, taking down Blaber.
Racking him up and knocking him down here for Keith. 4-0-1 at 8 minutes on the Jinx.
That is not a situation you want to be in if you're Clutch Gaming. This is a very, very dire place to be. Keith is going to scale like a monster. Let's take another look here at how they started it off.
Yeah, here this is one more time, looking to attack Piglet. He is not playing Cleanse. This is a TP Karthus, so the full commit comes in.
Pop.
As Blaber, you're like, come on, man. That was my kill. I had to die for it. I used my flash, my ultimate. 80 carries always getting all the credit.
Yep, 80 carry just swooping in there. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Big old rocket comes swooping in, and all of a sudden, this Jinx is looking mighty scary. He's taking almost down the second plate now in the bottom lane. One more shot, and whoop, there we go. 80 more gold in Keith's pocket. And perfect. The observers are in my mind right now, Isaac, because I was about to ask, I wonder how far ahead he is, and the answer is 2,000 gold. Up above Cody Sun. Cody doesn't have a prayer to try to contest this guy on equal footing at this point. Clutch Gaming either just has to farm up under the turret or let everything go.
Yeah, it gets really, really rough. I mean, you're hoping that you can pull off a really good combo, I think, at 6. When you have Rakan, you have the Lee Sin level 6 as well. You still can burst this guy down. He's going to do a tremendous amount of damage, but if you catch him with the proper combo, you can kill him off, try to collect that 700 gold bounty, and maybe swing the lane a little bit back towards parity. But that being said, I mean, if you can't kill him before he buys, he's going to have a completed Zeal item and be that much stronger.
And even if you bring your Lee Sin down, I mean, if the enemy jungler and mid laner are both hard hovering bottom because they're anticipating you trying to collapse on this Jinx and get that shutdown, you're not going to have anything good happen in an even numbered fight if that Jinx is part of it.
You also got to remember GP Ultimate coming back up here as well. That's going to be available for the cross-map assistance. So it's definitely, risky business trying to go for him. And Lira even gets spotted there. You can see the question mark coming out.
That melee minion was a little bit far forward there.
Yeah.
Really got to respect those as Goldenglue's hanging out here waiting, seeing, all right, maybe Lira's going to walk through. Blaber could easily tunnel over the wall, come in and help him with the Prey Seeker into the ultimate execute as well. And Lira's not tanky on this Lee Sin. I mean, he has an hourglass. Not an hourglass, excuse me. Stopwatch, but that's it.
Yeah, and it's not really better news up top. Kumo has kind of stabilized the matchup. He was already down about that 20 CS pretty early on. It's staying around that, and as you get towards that Triforce, he already has his Sheen. It's going to get harder and harder to pressure him because he can farm so safely with the barrels under turret. So we'll see if they can kind of swing things around. And I'm also going to be pretty interested to see what the buy will be here for Keith. It is just Hurricane and Zerker Greaves. This is very, very standard. I do think sometimes when you're this far ahead, you can afford to build a little bit more defensively and shut down like the only hope that your opponents have of actually bursting you out and taking you down. Something like an early PD sometimes can be very effective in these situations, but this is certainly very standard. It's going to be higher DPS option and going to be really effective come team fights.
And when you look at the champions picked on the side of Clutch Gaming, when you have a jungle Lee Sin, a top lane Lucian, a support Rakan, yeah, all these guys are somewhat beefy. They're going to have, I mean, the Lucian will probably have a black cleaver, so he's got a larger health pool than normal. But at the same time, this is not a squad that can sit there and face tank rockets. There's nobody who's going to be the meatball that this Jinx can pulverize and still walk away from.
Exactly. I mean, it's kill Jinx instantly or lose the team fight, pretty much. So we'll see if Clutch is going to be able to pull anything off. But it's C9 sitting on what I believe to be a lot of better scaling here. When you're looking at the team fight, even in the side lane, I think the GP is going to get to a point where GP is just winning side lane against anyone here from Clutch as well. So it does become pretty difficult. I think it depends highly on the playmaking that's going to come out from Lira and from Vulcan. You want to find those perfect engages, and Lira is moving down here, but Blaber's covering.
Here comes the fight. It's coming in. Vulcan looking to start things off here as Blaber shows up to make sure they're not able to find their way onto Keith all the way. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find the mark. Everybody disengages. If both global ulti is going to be called in on that when artillery strikes both lines, but nobody falls.
Yep, no one goes down. They do get both summoners out of Keith, but it is a trade of 3 summoners apiece. And Keith does stay alive, and the siege will continue. Blaber's just going to hang around here, using that Tremor Sense, trying to spot out Lira. They'll move forward, and they'll look to just knock this turret down.
Here we go on to Keith yet again. GP gonna be coming in on this one. Clutch Gaming finally looking to collapse, find the kill onto Keith. Can they do it? Coming from behind, is Piglet gonna get the money he needs? Yes, he will. They get the shutdown onto Keith. Blaber's gonna grab the kill onto Piglet. Goldenglue makes his way in, and it's all Cloud9 all the time. Double kill over to their mid laner. They will take down 3 from Clutch Gaming, losing only 2 of their own.
And they're going to get this turret. First turret should go the way of Cloud9. Pre-14 minutes, they will get the big cash in. Straight onto Goldenglue here, who is going to get paid off of that roam.
5K lead, 13 minutes in, Xayah.
God.
That is a hill to climb if you are Clutch Gaming. And the audience is feeling it too. The chants, the claps, it all rings out. Let's take another look at how this fight got clapped.
Yeah, here this is one more time, looking for the engage in onto Keith. They're not able to find it initially, but Piglet, with a really good TP flank, does come in, cleans up the bounty, getting a lot of AoE damage down, allows them to get 2 easy kills, but then Goldenglue claw over the wall, flash Q, self-ulti, picks up a double kill, grabs the first turret, and now Keith is unlocked from that lane. Heading over here towards what's looking like a potential Rift Herald. I think they're going to just try to go for that and force around that top side of the map.
And even as Goldenglue's in popsicle mode, his little Game of Thrones minions walk up and grab him another kill on the bottom lane, just add another one to the Ice Army. As you can see, the top side there, turret plates taken 7-1. quite a lot of extra money over in Cloud9's pockets from that one. Every 2 turret plates you take over your opponent is the equivalent of getting another kill, so essentially had 3 more kills worth of gold to the lead here.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're playing Lucian top with Lee Sin and you're playing Xayah Rakan bot, this is not what you're hoping to see at all. We'll see if Lira can make anything happen around this Rift Herald.
Thinking about it. Go ward over the wall there, but as soon as they see Cloud9, yeah. As soon as you see Cloud9 in the bottom lane up, you don't want anything to do with jumping over that wall.
Yep. We do have Huni, you know, still doing well in the top lane, but I just don't think it's really relevant at this point of the game. Your bot lane is so far behind. The Lissandra is very strong. You know, GP can scale. He can afford to be behind. So the advantages for Clutch don't amount to much right now. And you can even, if you want to, as Cloud9, you know, just send your bot top to match against that Lucian, which is going to put him in a pretty difficult situation. But I think for now, at least, they are going to leave the Jinx mid, want to have Keith protected, you know, kind of in this shorter, safer lane. But it is going to make it difficult to siege against Karthus with a blue buff, who has some really potent wave clear.
And when you're talking about potent wave clear, rockets are a hell of a weapon, Xayah, and they'll be able to clear out those waves pretty effectively with that. Piglet getting himself back, continuing to drop the lay waste, picks up everything nice and easy there. Goldenglue on the bottom side. We'll see Cody Sun and Vulcan rotating down here to him. Control ward will be cleared out as Vulcan tries to maintain control over their own side of the jungle. Fortunately for Clutch, they have only lost the bottom lane tier 1 so far, so Cloud9 can't just walk up into the jungle and start taking over everything just yet, and Clutch will try to hold on to those lines as long as they can. You can see so many control wards placed in the top half of the jungle here by Clutch Gaming, making sure Cloud9 can't just strut past that river and start taking control of the bushes.
Yep, exactly. It's that kind of 3 control wards in that line of scrimmage on the top side. They really do need to protect their jungle, as you say. Once you lose control of the jungle, the leads just become that much worse. It becomes so difficult when you're already behind from laning and then your jungler is falling further and further behind. It's easier and easier to predict where he's going to go based on the camps that you've taken away. And it becomes a bit of a no-win situation.
We also got to keep in mind the back pocket of Cloud9 currently contains the Rift Herald. Blaber has that one with about half the timer left on it. So sometime in the next 2 minutes, we'll see Cloud9 likely try to use that to secure one of these remaining outer turrets.
Yeah, very likely going to be mid that he drops it. I mean, the mid lane turret is already down a little bit below half. So Rift Herald would get most of that work done for you. If you can pressure this Clutch bottom lane back off the turret whatsoever, you can certainly look to drop Rift and knock down that mid, which can give you access into the jungle that you were talking about.
And I've just been informed in my ear by our stats team that this is actually Cloud9's biggest lead at 15 minutes so far this split.
Oh.
The Academy boys are coming up all A's today, showing the main roster how it's done.
FLICKR and Niski thought they were joking, but the meme is becoming a reality.
Really impressive stuff here so far from this squad of players who are looking to show up and strut their stuff on this stage, and they are strutting well so far. Huni on the side, seeing if maybe there's a play to be made, but remember, when you're the Lucian, you can't really start the fight off. All right, he's gonna dash at him, find a little bit of damage, and now immediately has to jump back out. TP gonna be channeled here. We'll see if Cloud9's able to find anything out of this one. Huni's gonna be jumped on. Death Rockets, zaps, and big old claws from a Rek'Sai. That's Blaber grabbing himself a kill.
Yeah, and the Rift Herald likely to come down on this push now. It's gonna get dropped. That should be the mid lane turret falling down. They can even walk this straight up to the tier 2 because they see Piglet up on the top side. They know that Huni is down. You cannot take this fight without your solo lane, so a second turret is gonna fall here for Cloud9. They're just taking everything.
Why stop at 2, Xayah? 3 is a magical number, and it looks like Cloud9 is gonna make sure that they escort Shelly all the way up into that inhibitor turret. They will not stick around to try to push in on this one any further, instead just taking the headbutt for the half damage and allowing Goldenglue to finish up his business on the bottom side. What I was saying about one turret has quickly avalanched into a 4 turrets to 0 lead.
Yeah, and they are snowballing this game out of control. Nearly 7.5K ahead at this point. Cloud9 looking really, really strong. The question now is how cleanly can they close out the game? They have certainly shown us a very strong early game. They have shown us that they know how to play out these first 20 or so minutes. When you get to the Baron stages of the game, that is where some teams have struggled to really know how to advance the pace of the game. That is where it sometimes does stall out. And Cloud9 certainly can go late with their scaling, but you want to see them be able to show a dominant performance here with this sort of lead and close it out quick.
Absolutely, and For Clutch Gaming, the one part of the map they were winning was the top side, with that matchup that is drafted specifically to smash lane with the Lucian. Unfortunately for Clutch Gaming, everything they've lost throughout the rest of the map in terms of turret plating, turrets themselves, all these different gold sources which have put money in the pockets of Kumo, he's 50 gold behind his opponent.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not where you want to see that happen from the side of Clutch Gaming. The fight's going to be started off now, and by a fight, I mean it looks like a beating. Piglet's in some trouble. Cloud9 now might find it turned around on them. Goldenglue going to be in some trouble, goes into the stasis, keeping himself alive. Blaber grabbing the kill onto Piglet, 1 down for 0 so far. Karthus ulti coming out, might be able to find himself at least 1. There you go, shutdown credit over to Piglet. Kumo in some trouble, having to get himself the hell out of dodge, takes the blast cone out, and Sonic Wave will not find it.
Will be the 1-for-1 trade there. Both top laners utilizing their TP as well, and Clutch does have mid lane priority, so they're shoving it up, trying to trade back what would be their first tower of the game, but Keith certainly able to clear out that wave in a hurry, and Kumo is pushing up top. He's trying to knock down another outer here, extend that C9 advantage.
Taking out that last outer is nice extra money in the Cloud9 pockets, but they won't be able to secure it just yet. Kumo recognizes he's not quite at that spot where he can deal with Huni 1 versus 1, just because the Lucian's still very adept at doing that with the Blade of the Ruined King, as well as the pieces of the Black Cleaver, so Kumo's not going to risk anything. Huni will get back up there, clear things out, and take some Krugs to try to continue giving himself some money. But let's take another look here at how Piglet buys time.
Yep, here it is one more time, straight in onto Piglet. Early stopwatch does get popped, and really good counter engage there from Vulcan, peeling off all 3 members, and that's really what allows Piglet to survive for so long, kind of get into the middle of multiple members. Well-timed ultimate after Goldenglue comes out of that stopwatch. He does get knocked down, and Kumo is sent running.
Goldenglue almost fell there before he got the chance to ult himself and heal up a little bit, but some good timings on both the ultimate and the Zhonya's Hourglass to keep himself in a spot where he forced the ultimate out of Piglet. Still very important. Karthus' ultimate, very long CD, but he's going to be dead for a while now. Won't have to worry about doing too much of anything. That ulti is on about 2.5 minutes in terms of a cooldown with what we're seeing in his inventory right now.
Yeah.
Cloud Drake started up, means more in the pockets of Cloud9.
I mean, Karthus in a side lane is easy pickings for Lissandra as well as this Rek'Sai. That combo, there's not really any escaping that for Piglet. You don't have any move block, sure you can slow them down with the wall of pain, but that's not going to do it. They will at least trade something back here on the top side of the map, as Huni will get Clutch their first turret of the game. He is sitting on 2 items, so still looking fairly strong, but as you said, with the turret gold, with the passive gold on GP, they're pretty much just even in gold, and it just gets so difficult to actually bully the GP at this point because you can just one-shot the range minions once you have Triforce, and he just sits at his turret, clears the waves for free, and ults elsewhere on the map, and that can be a very frustrating situation when you are laning up against GP, and it's your job to slam this guy. It feels very difficult to do so.
Clutch Gaming have at least staunched the bleeding for now. The problem is, you're staunching the bleeding on a limb that's been half torn off. You've got a 7,000 gold deficit 20 minutes into the game. It's not getting worse, but the situation is so dire to begin with. Can it even be turned around? Goldenglue makes sure that they send Huni right into the grave. Blaber, you can see, tried to use the ultimate there, only got halfway burrowed into the ground before Goldenglue executed his opponent anyway. That's another thing coming up here for Cloud9. Huni dead. That one guy we were talking about is still holding even footing with his opponent off the table for 30 seconds, and that means Cloud9 gets total control over Baron, and they start it up.
Yeah, they're just starting this up 2-man right now. Keith can head over, and he's going to be able to kill this in a hurry. We'll see if FLICKR are really even aware of it. They're trying to move over towards the Baron, but it's going down so fast.
Blue Trinket in the
Gonna be up to a steal to Lira.
They know what's going on here.
Lira might be able to do
Lira
this.
wants to go in, see if maybe they can steal that one away. Goes into the pit now, but it's going to be Baron. Aggro drops, the fight breaks out. Vulcan going to be looking to make something happen. Instead, going to be killed off by Kumo. Piglet also dead now off the side. Blue team securing Baron. Naturally means Cloud9 gets what they came for, and they're going to take some gift wrap kills to go. Diamond grabs the last one there onto Lira, and that is again 3 dead on Clutch. Nobody down on Cloud9, and this Academy roster is looking damn good.
Yeah, they are checking all the boxes. You want them to snowball the game with the advantage that they had. They get that kill onto Huni. They peel off the Baron at 2K, so Lira cannot actually finish it off. And then you can see Keith on the side, avoiding Vulcan's engage, going straight on Piglet, knocking him down. And then a smite fight does come down to Blaber and Lira. Blaber went back onto that Baron. He does secure it with the smite, and Lira's smite came out a little bit too early there, and Cloud9, as a result, they get the Baron, they get 3 kills. They are nearly 11,000 gold ahead and have everything they need to close this one out.
And looking at Clutch Gaming, the Karthus ultimate doesn't seem to be that big artillery barrage that you would often expect from a Karthus, because when you look at his items, the team is so far behind, he had to build somewhat defensively. He went with the Rod of Ages into the Zhonya's. This isn't Rabadon's Death Cap. This isn't double spell penetration. This is not a Karthus that's going to blow off half your health bar as soon as he presses R. And Clutch Gaming are now having to defend a Cloud9 push from 2 different angles. And look at the damage from the barrels.
Yeah, that is half your health gone from a barrel. If your Karthus ultimate can't do that, that's going to feel pretty bad. I can tell you barrels are a shorter cooldown than the Karthus ultimate.
Ancient evil magic versus a barrel of oranges. Which one does more damage? Sometimes it doesn't make sense in the lore, but it's still going to make sense on some of the
Gunpowder in those barrels, Flowers.
All right, fair enough. Gunpowder and oranges. That's a hell of a lot of gunpowder, though, as Cloud9 has taken down the bottom lane inhib. They're going to look now towards the mid lane inhibitor turret. Karthus throws down the wall, finds its way onto Diamond, but not really that big of a deal. Diamond and Kumo both yet to die in this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, to make matters worse, the locket is already completed for Diamond, so, you know, if you're not pressured during the fight, you can save that for the Karthus ultimate, negating most, if not all, of that effect at this point. They're closing in. This turret's going to go down another auto or two. Should be a second inhib for them very, very easily. Utilizing this Baron power play to great effect.
Clutch Gaming just can't find the opportunity to take a fight. Now with their base in shambles, 2 lanes just completely destroyed.
Yeah.
You think you pretty much have to fight for that 3rd inhibitor. I mean, yeah, you have a 1% chance of winning, but you have a 0.1% chance of winning if you wait to lose all 3.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think you choose your moment, you go for the fight, even if it is that 5% chance or whatever in a play that you can find, you got to go for it. You have Lucian, you have Rakan. Miracles can happen if you can make that instant pick on Jinx. Maybe you can turn something around, but that really is the only hope for Clutch now. If they sit back, they will lose the 3rd inhibitor. They will bleed out this game with no chance to come back.
Guardian Angel also up on Blaber. He can go in, not even worry about the counter kill coming out onto him. Zhonya's Hourglass on the Lissandra, as well as Stopwatch on Jinx. So even if you get the kick, he had better be CC'd 100-0 or the play will not work. Cloud9 taking down the last tier 2 on the map now, and their sights are set on inhibitor turret number 3.
Yep, they are coming up on this final inhibitor tower. Goldenglue pushing in the mid wave. Bot wave is going to be coming up here pretty quickly as well. So Cloud9 does not need to rush this. You can look at the mini-map, see these waves coming up all around them. They can wait for all of these supers to actually arrive and crash at the same time as they're looking to siege here. As soon as Clutch has to send multiple members down to actually start clearing out these waves, Cloud9 can step forward with their own minion waves and look to crack this final inhibitor tower.
Speaking of which, they're walking up to the door right now. We'll see if they can make this push happen without a Baron. Clutch Gaming will do everything they can to clear these waves out of the way.
Look at the supers coming in the bot, right? You have to answer that.
Bottom lane, they're going to start smashing into those Nexus turrets as Keith will keep taking pot shots into the tier 3 top side. Huni and Cody Sun doing everything they can to get these out of the way as fast as possible, but once again, now it's mid lane marching some minions up. It's Cloud9 with 2 members sitting comfortably in the base to make sure they're there for the flank.
Yeah, Goldenglue and Blaber are going to be in a great position to come behind Clutch if they try to make a stand, and Goldenglue is actually just working on these Nexus turrets. First one has fallen. Huni is trying to solo defend this, but they're just being pulled apart here.
And look at how much damage Goldenglue does to the turret with the Elixir of Sorcery. He was able to 2-shot that turret from about 40% HP. So 5-6 auto attacks from full will kill that last remaining Nexus turret.
Yep, and Goldenglue now going to be working towards that. Keith still pushing this up. Clutch needs to pick their moment and go, or they are just ceding the game entirely. There's not a lot of time you have to feel like left in it for them. If they give up this 3rd inhib, Cloud9 may make the call to just reset and try to play for this next Baron, but Clutch content to just try to wait it out.
Clutch have managed to keep that 3rd inhibitor alive, 3rd inhibitor turret 2, but did lose Nexus turret number 1. TP coming in now from Goldenglue, who was chunked low after Huni used the culling to force him out. But Cloud9 doesn't seem to want to go for the Baron play. They want to go for the hard end right here.
Yeah, I mean, Goldenglue has a Mage Eyes and a Death Cap. He's definitely trying to end this game right now.
There we go. Blaber going in, starting things off. Turret's going to go down, so that's not going to be any advantage here for Clutch Gaming. A lot of damage coming through. Piglet already going to be killed off. The Gangplank ultimate rains from the sky. The Karthus ulti goes through. Goldenglue goes into the stasis, keeping himself alive. Keith will keep everyone at bay with the rockets. Cloud9 finds themselves 1 for 0. They take out the enemy mid laner, and now they've got sights set on the remaining Nexus turret. Auto attacks keep flying. Goldenglue going in, finding the lockdown into the damage, into the team fight win. It's not any way out for Lira. Cloud9 Academy make a statement and take down Clutch Gaming.
Clutch just gets wiped off the map with that combo. Cloud9 making it look easy here today. Cloud9 going to finish the season 14-4. A very impressive spring split here in 2019 for them.
I love watching how this org fosters talent. Last year, I already talked about it, and I'm never going to stop. They were the roster that was saying, all right, we're going to constantly swap out our mid laner and our jungler. Trust us here. The fans were upset for a long time, and then what happens? Cloud9 makes one of the most insane rebounds during summer. They come back. They have the most incredible NA Worlds run we have seen in forever. And now they're here again this year saying, all right, let me show you what our Academy players can do this time around. They bring them in. They have their best lead at 15 so far this split, and they look so good.
Yeah, it was an absolute pop-off game for Keith and Diamond. The 2v3 at the start of the game felt like that pretty much decided it. Blaber had already gotten them an advantage, and then to see Jinx get that many early kills, sitting on 4 kills at 8 minutes, was monstrous.
And let's not forget, before minions spawned, Diamond lost his flash at that level 1 skirmish around the river. So to do all that, also down a summoner spell, continue to build that lead in the bottom lane. That's one thing that we often criticize players for who are making the transition through like that academy phase of going from solo queue stars to can they survive in competitive play. One of the big things you see is overstaying and overestimating how strong you are and throwing away leads. They got ahead and they never once lost it.
Yeah, I mean, they cleanly closed out that game. It's certainly very, very impressive. And for Clutch, end to a disappointing season. Certainly not what they were looking for. They have missed out on playoffs. They will finish down near the bottom of the table. And that's not something that guys like Huni are used to having to have happen.
Well, the Academy team aced their test today, and now we're going to send things down to Riv, who's standing by with the triumphant bottom lane.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. As always, I am joined by Cloud9 Academy, but the LCS team roster now of Diamond and Keith after their victory over Clutch Gaming. I got to start with you, Keith. Diamond's first game on the LCS stage. We need a rating. How did he play? What is the verdict?
Honestly, a pretty good LCS debut. I like to think mine was better on the Jinx, and I went back to my roots today, so I think I did pretty good.
The 2-0-13 isn't too bad on support. Diamond, what was your experience? Did you kind of meet expectations for yourself today? How'd it go?
Yeah, didn't think I was gonna play Braum, but I was on Braum duty, just protecting my little boy here.
They banned your Thresh, man.
They banned my Thresh. They respect ban my trash, so I had to play Braum.
All right, final question. Diamond, this one's for you. You guys have Academy Worlds. Academy MSI is on the horizon, and that's going to be against Team Liquid with Shoryu and Matt. How are you feeling about that matchup overall?
We're gonna smash them, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not worried either.
There you go. You heard it here from the Cloud9 Academy bot lane. They're going to be smashing the C9 Academy playoffs. That's the Academy MSI playoffs. We're going to head back to the State Farm Analyst desk to break down this game.
Thank you very much, Riv. I mean, you put up a performance like that on the LCS stage, I wouldn't be too worried headed back into the Academy MSI either if I'm C9 at the moment.
They beat our LCS average win time. And I think they actually were
They hard
faster
smashed.
than the global average win time because it was under 30 minutes.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
I mean, at this point, you could probably make an argument, are they an LCS team? They just dominated the 9th place LCS team right now, I believe.
Yep.
And I believe they'd also probably beat 100 Thieves.
I was going to say, do you think the C9 Academy squad could challenge for a playoff position?
Yeah.
I think it's really close. I think Echo Fox is just barely going to gatekeep them out of
Right
there,
at
but
that
they
line.
can give CLG a run for their money.
Yeah,
for sure.
without a doubt, without a doubt. I want to talk about how they did it, and it was a lot of that bot lane right there. It was called out by the casters, the 2v3 pretty early on after Blaber helped them get a small advantage. And then from there, off to the races with 4 early kills onto a Jinx and no deaths. Diamond playing that Braum near perfection in terms of taking care of Keith on that ADC.
Yeah, another Scouting Ground alumni coming up really big, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. It's great to see Keith back in the LCS, as well as seeing the interview. They're both super hilarious, and they win a 2v3 early on in the game. and it's against an enemy team with no front line. You have a Jinx with 4 kills. The game's over. It's absolutely over.
Diamond plays this real well.
Oh,
This
I
feels-
love the flash in front.
This feels like something I would see like in solo queue.
Yeah, that's not a
Something like
2v3.
that,
That's one at a
It's a
time.
1v1v1,
Yeah.
v2.
It's a 1v2, v1v1.
Yeah, it's like, all right, tag me out, guys. I'm going mid.
I mean, it's still super good to see the young blood of the LCS coming up. I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to be getting looked at by a lot of teams.
Right.
I mean, even though he wasn't in very many of the replays, Kumo up in the top lane.
Held his own?
Yeah, held his own versus Huni's Lucian. He fell like 15 CS
He
behind,
was
which is
even
like-
in gold.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah.
I mean, who should be looking at these players? Of course, it would require C9 to let him go as well, or to be willing to give him up. But I like this conversation, Mark. We're moving into the end of this split. There's quite a few teams that I'm sure, based on Spring Split performance, are going to want to make some changes moving into summer. Which of these guys should be seriously looked at for an LCS starting spot?
I think it's hard to pinpoint what team is going to be looking at them specifically, because then they have to look at, okay, who do we want to potentially have a second member with as well. But honestly, if all of them played pretty well, you might as well just give him a try. Maybe make a 10-man roster.
I want to see them play more games before we go off on this.
Nope.
front side.
As a
They're
sub.
playing
No.
versus they're playing versus Piglet's mid lane. I don't exactly know how strong Clutch is right now, considering they did a lot of roster swaps as well. It's not like it's the original starting Clutch with Demonte on the team. So even though they dominate these guys, I'd like to see them versus other players,
They're this close to winning Academy MSI, though.
That is true.
And they're already Academy World Champions.
Yeah.
I mean, this C9 Academy roster is the most decorated team in all of North America.
When you put it like that, they're actually the favorites in this
Yeah.
match.
Right, that, exactly.
They're no longer the underdogs.
Yeah, it was
the Academy
expected to
team is the favorite.
I love it also too. I love that we get for example the Gangplank in the top lane, something that isn't showing up in the LCS, and so you're seeing a little bit of the cross pollination of the Academy metas into the LCS and how LCS teams would deal with it. And honestly, stacking up against an aggressive laner and holding your own for Kumo, that's a solid debut.
Right, I believe that's the first time we saw Gangplank this split, right? I don't believe we've seen him in the LCS at least, this split.
We saw it banned a couple of times, but I can't
But not
remember it
played,
locked
right?
in. Yeah.
And then we see it Gangplank picked into it. Well, Lucian picked into it, and he actually did really well into the matchup versus Huni of all people that likes being super aggressive. His turret didn't actually die until I don't think it did die, right?
I think it's out of like 20-something.
And there was
Right.
like no jungle attention, which should be great for the
Yeah,
Lucian.
usually that turret from Gangplank dies really early, but it stayed forever. He stayed in gold, and like he's holding his own against Huni.
Yeah, Blaber was having fun too, being able to play around his super fed bot lane after he got him ahead. Like I think they had a lot of fun in that game.
Yeah, and of course we did hear from Sebastian Park yesterday for Clutch that having been out of contention for playoffs, they felt that was the right time to make a switch up and possibly unlock some potential for this squad. 2 games of evidence on it. How do you feel?
This did not seem like an attempt
Abort.
to unlock it. The potential, yeah.
I've played versus Piglet's mid lane before, and I feel like he just needs to make a decision if he wants to be a mid laner or an AD carry.
Like,
It seems
fully commit.
right.
No,
He keeps going back and
So
forth
does
between them.
Huni. Huni needs to make the same choice because he keeps playing AD carry.
Right,
That's
so
2
like
games playing
Cassiopeia,
AD.
Bane, Lucian, it's just like they kind of want to pick something that they're, I don't know, good at and stick with it.
They're wavering
That's what
between
happened.
options as
Right.
opposed to committing to something and choosing to grow in it. So for Clutch Gaming, an unfortunate loss to end the season for Cloud9 and the Academy roster. They're looking good. And if you want to see that squad compete again, make sure you tune in to Academy MSI. Semifinals start on Thursday with Fox Academy versus TSM Academy and C9 Academy versus Team Liquid Academy on Friday. Up next, it's a rematch between Team Liquid and TSM, and you will not want to miss it.
See if Cloud9 wants to go after this one. Yes, sir, they do. Finding multiple stacks there on the stuns and first blood over to Keith. Here comes Lira from behind. Bottom side, it's Keith who's going to be jumped on to start this fight off. Vulcan's able to initiate things, but he's taken down instantly. Now Cloud9 might be able to turn this into a 2 versus 3. They got the damage coming down. Heels popping off. There comes more damage down now. On to Lira, going to be able to take him out too. A double kill over to Keith. It's 3 bodies on the floor. I'm dropping aggro. Nice. Oh, Keith with the snipe.
Yo, it's Keith McBree.
Coming from behind is Piglet going to get the money he needs. Yes, he will. They get the shutdown onto Keith. Blaber's going to grab the kill onto Piglet. Goldenglue makes his way in.
Lira's in the pit. Lira's in the pit. I'm on Xayah. Xayah flash. Come. Come, Zed.
I got the Baron. Auto attacks keep flying. Goldenglue going in, finding the lockdown into the damage, and the team fight win. It's not any way out for Lira. Cloud9 Academy make a statement and take down Clutch Gaming.
Yeah, had a pretty big fender bender here.
State Farm's got you covered, Mike.
That's great to hear. Robin?